Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Bolts Breakdown. Brian Burns, Jay Recher here with you. I know we look like we have, what'd you say, jaundice?
Jaundice,
We look like Simpson characters, so we may be the first tweet of the night tonight for Eric Erlinson. He's always posting some Simpson hockey characters, so it's always a lot of fun following him on Twitter. Make sure you follow Burnsy on Twitter, at BBurnsNHL. You can follow me, at Jay Recher. You can follow the team, at TB Lightning. Follow the station, 95.3 WDAE. Before we get into tonight's contest, Burnsy against the visiting New York Rangers, who are on their dad's trip right now.
Yeah,
they won their shootout game the other night against the Florida Panthers, so a lot of the dads were happy there.
Always got to be careful in those dad's trip games. Man. Players, they want to play well in front of the family, you know.
Try to do a little bit too much, so for Lightning fans out there, they're hoping that tonight is that case. So let's talk about the other night, and Burnsy, my goodness, when you watch that game with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche, a lot of people were saying, hey, this could be a Stanley Cup preview. This is one of the best teams in the NHL coming here to Amalie Arena. But right from the first shift, that hit late by Nikita Kucherov kind of set the tone. And then this team was rolling and finishing with a 7-1 victory. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's funny how Kucherov is that one guy. I don't know what it is, but he's that one guy that if he lays a hit on someone, it seems to just energize the whole team. I think back to that New Jersey series last year where he had that big hit on Vatanen up in New Jersey. And that really changed the complexion, I think, of that series. I think that was Game 4. New Jersey won Game 3.
Yeah.
Came early in the game, put a big hit on Vatanen, and the Lightning rolled from there. I think if that hadn't happened, that Game 4 might have been a little trickier. Maybe that's a little bit of a different series. But it just seems like whenever he comes out energized and he's looking to hit somebody, it's all the way through the team. Everybody else feels that, and they seem to feed off of that.
Yeah.
You saw that in that Colorado game, and it's just one of those games where the Lightning just completely overwhelmed their opponent. You don't know. Colorado was coming at the end of a road trip, so you wonder how much tired legs had to do with it.
Yeah, you talk about that, but you don't know. That could be nothing. You know what I mean? You see at the last game of the road trip, you're like, oh, they could be tired. But that's like wishful thinking. But what you saw the other night, I mean, they just looked like they wanted to get on the plane and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, that one, it was pretty much over. I think, the third or fourth goal, I want to say. I think when they came out in the second period and they got that first one in the second, I think it was pretty much over at that point.
There was no response. They didn't have a response. Like every time when they made it 4-1 and 5-1, you were like, okay, we're waiting for a pushback for the Colorado Avalanche. And it wasn't. It was just the Lightning poured it on more and more, and it was just an all-around complete game. Best game of the year for the Lightning, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the 1-0 game they played in Colorado.
Yeah.
It was a completely different game, but I thought they did everything they needed to do to win that game, and were just so sound defensively. Got a great performance from Andrei Vasilevsky, and were opportunistic, converting on that 1/3 period power play. Different games, I think as far as like overwhelming a quality opponent, for sure, that game was as good as it gets. And what I really liked was, we talked about this with Greg Linnelli before the game, who was going to get that assignment for that top line, that McKinnon line, with Landeskog and Ratnan, that's been just completely on fire this year. And we thought we'd see a little bit more of the Paquette line against them, but it was the point line pretty much the whole game, and those guys just did a magnificent job of shutting those guys down. McKinnon did have the one goal, but it wasn't on any breakdown defensively. Yeah. It was more of a good shot, screen puck, probably one Domingue would probably like to have back, but just a job that they were able to do to shut that line down. And you see other teams, they have these great scores, but they don't have the depth that the Lightning do. And if you can shut down that top line and take away that offense from some of these teams like Colorado, they don't have the depth that can make up for that lack of scoring, and we saw it on Saturday night.
It's hard to really kind of analyze how good the Colorado Avalanche are because the Lightning were in control of that whole game. McKinnon had a couple of good rushes where he got a full head of steam. You talk about that goal where it was kind of a second effort in front of the net there.
Yeah.
Rantanen, I thought, was looked as good as advertised. He was a guy that was clearly playing with a whole lot of confidence right now. But other than that, some of the other guys that scored the previous game for them against Florida, or even some of their strong defensemen like Tyson Barrie and Eric Johnson, Samuel Girard, like those guys didn't really stand out to me. They didn't really make an impact on the game. And I don't know if it was so much of what they weren't doing or what the Lightning were actually doing, because everybody was getting involved. And just like Tim McCardle says here, and as always, we want to hear from you on Bolts Breakdown. Give us a shout at the bottom of the screen where you're watching it from. good to see Palat get rewarded for hard work. I thought he has played better and better. There was one turnover that he had in the defensive zone that I don't think you'll see when he gets kind of his full 100% legs underneath him. But, man, not just to get one, but to get 2 goals, really good to see from Andre Palat.
Yeah, and you really saw that relief, on his face after scoring that first goal, too. He just threw both hands up in the air and jumped into the boards and then turned around, just so happy that he finally got on the board. And it was funny, Coach Cooper said after the game, the guys were telling him he needed to pick up the puck, get that memento, since that was the first one of the season. But, yeah, like you said, the Lightning have been doing this with guys like Andre Palat not really scoring that much. And you add him into the mix now, if he starts scoring with regularity with the rest of this team and the way these guys are scoring, I mean, this just makes them even that much more deadly.
Yeah, without a doubt. And to see a guy I just love and you I think you put this on Twitter, or you made a mention of this, but when Andre Palat was talking after the game, Tyler Johnson was there. I think that's something, Bernsey, that isn't kind of talked about enough with this team. Yeah, there's a lot of world-class talent on this team. Yeah, there's veteran leadership and all-star goaltending and young players, and but the bond, the family kind of atmosphere that these guys have, it's not something that's contrived. It's not something just for cameras or just for when we walk into the the locker room after games or before games or after morning skate. These guys really do care about each other. And I look at Johnson and Palat, and these guys are best buds, man, on and off the ice. And you can just tell that stuff is not fake. It's real.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, like Tyler Johnson, there's a media scrum for Andre Palat, and Palat's at the front, and then the media kind of circled around him, and Johnson came into the back and was just kind of watching and trying to get Palat's attention and mess with him a little bit. And then at the end, he asked the final question, how it felt to score as a new dad, and Palat gave a nice answer. And then Johnny, of course, had something funny to say, and Palat was funny back. But you see that a lot with these guys. I know, you guys at home probably don't see it, but when we're in the locker room, we see it. It's a tight-knit group. And, I mean, you'll have that, too, when you see these guys. I mean, Palat and Johnny, they came up together through Norfolk, through Syracuse, now here at the Lightning coming in at the same time. And this
second and third in the Calder Trophy.
Yeah,
for the Rookie of the Year behind Nathan McKinnon, ironically enough.
Yeah, this has been a team that's been together for quite a while. So they do, they built those relationships. They have that chemistry. And then the guys that they do bring in, like what they got JT Miller last year, Ryan McDonough, they seem to fit in seamlessly with the team. So credit to the organization for going out and getting guys that they know can come in and not disrupt that chemistry in the locker room. Because you see when guys come in, it's just more of the same. They integrate them right into the group, and they've become part of the team right away.
And I think that has something to do with what we were talking about for the last couple of weeks here on Bolts Breakdown about making trades and acquisitions and bringing guys in. The front office and the coaching staff don't want to kind of upset the apple cart in that room. There's a lot of good vibes going on right now. I know you want to kind of poke some holes into things, and you always want to stay on top of it. I know Steven Stamkos talked about it today, saying, even though we're on a nice winning streak here, we always want to kind of look at and analyze the things we're not doing well and kind of stay up on everything. But them being a kind of a tight-knit group, like you said, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't think it's such a dire need where they have to go out and make a deal. All right, guys, let us know. We got everybody in tonight. Eric Fruins, what's up, guys? Boys are doing awesome. Any ideas on goaltenders tonight? It'll be Henrik Lundqvist because Georgiev's back here, still working for the Rangers. It'll be Louis Domingue. He was in the starting net tonight. But it was good to see Andrei Vasilevskiy on the ice once again, as well as on Anton Strawman, so that was really cool as well.
Yeah, Vasilevskiy was taking shots, too.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
He looks like a normal goaltender out there right now. He was playing the role of the backup goalie today at morning skate. So I think he's pretty close. I mean, I think there's maybe even an outside chance he gets in before this
really
stands over.
Wow.
I don't know that. I'm not. That's just me off the top of my head. Just looking the eye test, looking at him, he looks fine. There's no limitations in his movement. He's not wearing a red no contact jersey. He's taking guys' shots. So there's nothing where there seems to be any limitations. And he's been working out on his own for a little bit. Now he's working out with the team. So it's getting close. He's going to be back in sooner rather than later. I think you're after the new
Might
year.
Not be right.
It's going to be a little too late.
Eddie Pasquale was in the other net today. So was Louis Domingue was in the starter net. After I got there just a touch late today, and after Vasi took a couple shots, he spent the most of the time in the neutral zone kind of hanging out. So he wasn't practicing as long as everybody else.
Yeah.
I still think it'll be a couple of days. But you never know with a guy like that. He's a big kid. He's young. He wants to get out there. you can't put anything past the Big Cat for sure. Brian Burns, beat writer, TampaBayLightning.com, Recher 95.3 WDAE. As always, we want to hear from you here on Bolts Breakdown. Let us know where you're watching from today. Put it there on the bottom of the screen. Also, share this on your Facebook. Let us know where you're watching. Put the word shared, and let us know what you think the score is going to be tonight against the Rangers. Who do you think is going to score the first goal? Put everything on there. We'll read it on there. We'll shout you out. Hi to Lisa Hartley. You're always watching. We always appreciate you very much. So let's look forward to tonight's game, Burnsy, against a couple of familiar faces. You got Vlad Nemesnikov. You have Brett Howden, Henrik Lundqvist. You played him many years.
All kinds of connections.
All kind of connections.
Half the Lightning team.
The team
connected to the Rangers.
I grew up in New York. That was my favorite team growing up. My uncle Kenny used to be, because the Lightning have the Brandon Ice Sports Forum. Yeah. The Rangers practiced for many years at Rye Playland, which was kind of like a Busch Gardens in Westchester County, and my uncle Kenny Downer was the rink manager.
Oh yeah.
So he was always on the ice. He got to hoist the cup in 1994.
Oh,
got a nice,
cool.
Yeah. So it's deep in my blood, the family. So these two teams are two teams that I follow closely, more closely than anybody. And Burns, you're looking at this Rangers team.
Maybe I should let you do 3 keys.
No, you got the keys. I'm following up. But with a coach like David Quinn coming from the college ranks, early on in the season, sat some of the Rangers' big-time guys, laying down the law. This is the way it's got to be. They're not as talented as many other teams in the NHL. They're kind of a little bit of in flux where they got a lot of young guys and some veterans, no really big superstars, but they're playing hard, and that's all you can ask for. And I think it's going to be a tougher battle for the Lightning tonight. I think eventually, the Lightning's talent and depth will probably kind of supersede, the Rangers and overtake them, but they're not going to have an effort like they got from Colorado the other night. The Rangers are going to come out, they're going to play hard, and that's why I think it'll be a close game until later on in the game. But 3 keys to victory for tonight's game, Burns. What do you got?
Number one for me is you look at the power play and where the numbers stack up. The Lightning have a pretty clear advantage on the power play here. They're number 2 in the NHL for power play percentage. The Rangers on the road, they're 31st in the NHL for road penalty kill percentage. So a lot of opportunities there for the Lightning to take advantage of that. If they get a couple power plays, they need to score 1 or 2, and then I think that'll lead to a victory. Number 2 for me, smart passing. I think in that Colorado game more than anything, I thought that team passed the puck so well. And when you see this team, when they're passing the puck well, when they're making the smart passes, when they're putting it on the tape, when they're hitting the guy in stride, this offense just moves so much smoother and quicker, and they're able to score at will, it seems like, when they're passing the puck really well. So for me, that's what I want to continue to see, and that's what we've seen a lot on this winning streak that the team's been on right now. But just continue with that passing, make those smart passes, and make them crisp, and that'll really get the offense going. And then third for me, you got a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel here. This is the final game that the Lightning are going to play, where they've been playing every other night. And that's really been since mid-November. Yeah. Almost for a full month now, they've played every other day. And the only break in that schedule, or no, it wasn't even a break, but the only hiccup in that schedule was when they had to play a back-to-back on the road. So they played a lot of games here in about a month-long stretch. They get 2 days from tonight's game going into the Toronto game. Then they get another 2 games after that. So really only 3 games this week. That's for these guys, it's going to be a well-needed and a welcomed rest for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So for me, it's play this one out, play a good game tonight. You've got a little bit of a break tomorrow, no practice tomorrow, have a little bit of a break after Thursday's game. So it's kind of that light at the end of the tunnel, like that rough stretch of games is almost over. Put together a good performance like you've been playing, and everything should go as planned.
My one guy to watch tonight, former Lightning farmhand, former first-round pick, Brett Howden, went to the Rangers in that deal for Ryan McDonough and JT Miller. I got an opportunity to talk to Sam Rosen, the longtime TV guy for the New York Rangers. You guys have heard him call many Bucks games on Fox as well. Talked to him about Brett Howden today, and he goes, Jay, this kid is a 2-way forward that's going to play in this league for a very, very long time. He's just got to get a little bit bigger. He's still very young, but he's been just as good as advertised. He's in the top 5 in rookie scoring. I don't think it's him and Matthew Joseph or I got to check, but last time I checked, they were like right next to each other.
Him and Cirelli battle back and forth too for faceoffs. They're both like for rookie faceoff guys. They're 1-2 in the league. They keep going back and forth. I have to check the stats every game when I do the notes for those 2 guys.
Yeah, Brett Howden is a guy that, watching his play this year, it shows like the Lightning made a good choice in that draft. And you got to give up to get, you got to give away players to get players. And I'm sure it wasn't it wasn't easy for them to give up a guy like Brett Howden, but you got a lot of depth up front. I mean, you make a deal for a guy like Ryan McDonough, it makes a lot of sense. But listen to John Cooper today after morning skate. He had nothing but high praise for him and Libor Hayek, the other guy that went across in that deal. Young defenseman you're going to see in the NHL probably, if not this year, next year. But I think it's going to be a good contest. A team that works hard against arguably the best team, probably not arguably, the best team in the NHL. It'll be a good test for both teams because sometimes these are the games you got to watch out for.
Absolutely.
If you're the Lightning. You're on a, 6-game winning streak right
6
now.
games.
You got the big matchup impending on Thursday night with probably your new rival at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tonight, I hate the word trap game, but I think this is one of those games that the Lightning have to be aware. They have to be on their P's and Q's because the Rangers are flying high. They're coming off that shootout win against the Panthers. We mentioned it was a dad's weekend for them. They're on the trip. So I think it's going to be a really entertaining game tonight for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closer than maybe than it would look on paper anyways.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to some of the things here. Eric Froon, Josephine first period goal. Hayes first in penalty box. Bolts win 4-3. Kevin Engel will be fun to watch Warrior teammates play against each other. Braden Point and Brett Howden. I agree with that. Madison Moreno, Vassy sweater for Christmas. Nice. Simone Laplante. Hey guys from Quebec, just like Simone did. Let us know where you're watching Bolts Breakdown from. Put it there on the screen and we'll shout you out. Fabio, hey, how's it going? Terry Benefield says TJ with the first goal of the night. Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, he's been hot of late.
Anthony Funicello, good kid from the neighborhood. Sergachev gets his first of the season tonight.
He's due. I mean, he's had some really good shots on goal. It just hasn't gone for him. He's been putting up the assists, but the goals just haven't been coming for him. I think he's like the last regular that hasn't scored a goal.
I think Jardy's got 2, right?
Yeah, and Palat, he was the last regular forward. Obviously, Danik Martel doesn't have a goal, but as far as the regulars in the lineup, he was the last of the forwards. So now I just got to get Sergachev on the board.
It's not for lack of effort, and it's not for lack of chances. I mean, he had a really nice backhanded shot the other night. I think he's got to get one here eventually. He's got such a good shot.
Yeah.
I think he's played much better. Early on in the season, I thought he was struggling a little bit trying to find his game. I think now that he's kind of got back into the groove, I think he's found his game now. I think the goals are going to come. If not tonight, I think Thursday.
Yeah, talking about that, it made me think like Eric Chernak. He had a couple bad turnovers early in that game against Colorado. Ryan McDonough had a bad turnover too. That's one thing to watch in this game. I will make this my 4th thing to watch.
4th thing.
But early in games, I've noticed, probably the last 2 or 3 games, the Lightning have given up a couple bad turnovers. They've led to some good scoring opportunities, and they've been lucky that Louis Domingue has played well in his net and hasn't really given up anything on those. Excuse me, I got something to throw. But, yeah, just early on, I think the Lightning need to clean up, just play a simple game in their own end. Don't try to make some of those passes, those blind passes into the middle of the ice because those have been getting intercepted here. But that's just something to watch. If you see a couple of those get converted on, that could make this game a little bit more dicey for the Lightning if they give up some turnovers and the Rangers are able to capitalize on those.
That's a good point because I actually brought that up with what's his name? Greg Linelli. Yeah, that guy. I brought it up with Greg Linelli because I was filling in for Eric Erlinson the other night in the first intermission. I said that was one of the things that jumped out at me was a couple of the turnovers that Chernak had, but he really kind of got back into the groove in the second and third period. I thought he played much better.
Didn't see it in the second or third. It was really early on, and then it didn't happen after that.
Kevin Jordan, Serge powering towards the net. He wants that dirty goal bad. Yes, for sure. Spencer Hopkins, my man. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you watching and supporting. Terry Benefield, also like to see Eric get one before Straley comes back. That kid has been solid.
Yeah, Chernak doesn't have one either. I don't know if I guess you can call him a regular now once Stralman gets back. I don't know if he's really a regular, but yeah, he's due. He's been putting pucks on net, and his thing is all his shots seem to go right into the middle of the goal. He just needs to aim for a corner and hope for the best.
I think it's going to be an entertaining game tonight. Who knows? Maybe you get a Lightning defenseman, a young guy, to score a goal tonight. Who knows? Brian Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at BBurnsNHL. You can follow the team at TB Lightning. Go to TampaBayLightning.com for all the best news and notes. Burnsy, what are you writing after morning skate today here?
It's kind of tough to figure out story ideas when the team keeps winning and there's really nothing like negative to talk
Yeah.
about. Not that I just look for negative things to write about, but yeah, I mean, how many times do you say this team keeps winning and keeps piling on wins? So we'll go back and listen to the interviews and see what we can get out of it.
Burnsy, he'll give you some good stuff, I promise. Follow me on Twitter at JRecher. Follow the station at 95.3 WDAE. Go to 953WDAE.com for the best Bolts coverage of the game on TV tonight. So it's going to be on ESPN Plus. It's going to be on here locally on Fox Sports Sun, and then always up the dial on our sister station 970 WFLA. All right, we'll take a break. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll be back at it on Thursday for a big-time Atlantic Division and NHL leading matchup between the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. That is going to be a good one. We'll see you guys next time right here on Bolts Breakdown.